What if every mutant soul in history rose up as one? What if Jean Grey didn't just carry the Phoenix, but became the Phoenix of all mutant kind? That's the scale of Rise of the Powers of X number 5, 2024, by Kieron, Gillen, and R.B. Silva. The issue where reality itself shakes. Enigma makes his final move, and Jean answers with fire eternal. From the ashes of dead realities, Jean Grey rises. Her body is wrapped in familiar green and gold, the Phoenix blazing at her side like a smaller raptor made of fire. But Jean is not a willing host this time. She warns the Phoenix, no feeding, no burning of the innocent. The Phoenix answers back, calling her Mother Me. It's a chilling line, a reminder that this cosmic force sees Jean not as a vessel, but as family. This is where it begins, it says, where the flame of hope becomes the new. Jean is Phoenix, Phoenix is Jean, but it's bigger than her. It's all mutants. They step to the edge of the white-hot room and gaze out. Before them is a sea of souls. Numberless, infinite. Jean realizes what she's seeing. Every mutant who has ever waited in the waiting room. Every mutant soul that lingered for resurrection. And the Phoenix confirms it. Resurrection has ended. The Phoenix begins. Every mutant soul burns inside it now, wings without limit, talons made of mutant kind itself. The Phoenix is not just Jean. It is every mutant, now and forever. Together, Jean and the Phoenix reignite the white-hot room. Jean steels herself. They have a mission. They have to stop Enigma. The Phoenix hesitates. Is she willing to destroy a machine built from lies? Jean doesn't flinch. That's what they do. Meanwhile, back on Krakoa, the battlefield is chaos, but the tide has turned. The Sentinels are rubble. Orcus is broken. Rasputin 4 raises her sword and shouts, "Krakoa victorious!" But Rachel is sharp enough to point out, not quite. Orcus is down, yes. But now, everything rests on Jean. Cyclops cuts in with quiet faith. If Jean's on it, they've won. Simple as that. A little away from the main fight, Mr. Sinister smirks and turns to Destiny. "So what do you see?" he asks. Destiny's face is grim. "The second kindest thing she'll ever do for him," she replies, "is not to tell him what she sees." At that same moment, Jean and the Phoenix cross back into normal reality. They blaze above Earth, and waiting for them is Enigma. He's triumphant, smug, convinced his moment has come. He tells her that the Dominions, those AI god minds beyond space and time, have descended from overspace. Together, they'll ensure she's erased as a threat forever. Jean's answer is pure fire. If they have to, they'll fight every Dominion. But then the twist lands. The other Dominions speak, and they correct Enigma. They didn't come to help him. To be a Dominion is to escape fear and escape the smallness of the self. They tell Jean they wish her no harm. She is now and forever. They are outside that. There is no overlap. And whatever action she takes to defend her domain, they accept it. With that, they leave. The cosmic gods turn their backs on Enigma. Jean smiles. Enigma seethes. Spitting rage, he calls them traitors. "You bastards!" "He came all this way to burn," Jean says. He must be disappointed. Enigma hides it behind false bravado. He sneers that she's just a bird fresh from the egg. He wanted the Dominions because efficiency is strength. But if he has to, he'll fight alone. He's raised himself higher than anyone ever has, by the longest road imaginable. He's not afraid to fight, but he doesn't have to fight here, because he still has somewhere else to run. And Jean has things he can hurt. He fades from reality with one last taunt. Find him before he tears apart everything that makes her her. Jean doesn't hesitate. She orders the Phoenix to catch him, and they dive after his vanishing trail. While Jean and the Phoenix pursue Enigma through burning folds of reality, Orcus HQ becomes the stage for another confrontation, one long overdue. Moira McTaggart, now machine, now traitor, steps into Charles Xavier's chamber. Enigma forbade her to speak to him, but she can't resist. Why is he here? What game is he playing? Charles looks tired, worn, but still proud. He tells her he's here to open her mind, and suddenly, her perspective shifts. She's not in Orcus HQ anymore. She's standing in a park by the riverbank in Oxford, where she and Charles first met as students. Both of them are young again. Moira bristles. She's a machine. He can't control her mind. Charles shakes his head. This isn't control. This is a signal. Years ago, he left a beacon, a psychic tether, for this moment. He isn't taking her over. He's giving her a choice. She can leave anytime. All she has to do is remember. And memory slams into her. She remembers her 13th birthday. She remembers Charles pulling the trigger of a gun, aiming at her. He shot at her, tried to end her before her mutant power cursed her life. Charles can't meet her eyes. He admits it. Yes, he tried to kill her. But he let her live because he was convinced there might be another way. A path of faith in her better nature. Moira laughs bitterly. He expects her to believe in morality. This is the man who put a bullet toward a child. And now he comes back as her conscience? Finally, he looks at her, his gaze heavy. He admits he told everyone it was unlikely she'd ever turn out better. But here they are, against all odds. Back in the time stream, Enigma begins his game. He doesn't strike Jean head-on. He rewrites history, tweaking finite moments to unravel her existence. First, he strengthens her parents' willpower. He makes them refuse to let Jean go to Xavier's school. If Jean never left home, there's no X-Men, no Phoenix. Jean notices and corrects it, burning through the manipulation. Then he crafts a crueler move. He copies Jean's full personality and implants it into Madeline Pryor. The plan? To activate it when Scott Summers inevitably chooses Jean over her. Madeline would snap, not just as a clone, but as Jean herself. Phoenix intercepts and burns the copy before it ignites. Years later, Enigma twists another knife. He delays Jean discovering Scott's emotional affair with Emma Frost, pushing it to fester until it's far worse. Phoenix undoes the shift, resetting pain to truth. He keeps escalating. The progenitor brushes past Jean, but Enigma inflates her arrogance. She swells with cosmic pride, risking corruption. She cuts it down, then the most chilling move. He replaces Jean's younger, time-displaced self with a clone he can control, slipping it in when she steps out of a room. It would unravel her identity across eras. She spots it just in time, burning the fraud. It's a relentless duel, not of fists, but of existence itself. Enigma tweaks, Jean repairs. One miss, one slip, and she unravels across all timelines. Meanwhile, on the astral plane, Xavier keeps pressing Moira. He tells her he knew she'd join Enigma. He counted on it. Because that meant she would be within his reach, just enough of her humanity left to hear him now. Moira spits back that she's finally escaped her mutant curse. She's free of her genes, free of the cycle. She won't give that up. Charles counters with the truth. She's not serving freedom. She's serving Nathaniel Essex. Enigma may look like a Dominion, but at its root, it's sinister. The most selfish man in mutant history. Orcus's great sin wasn't making AI. It was letting Essex become king of the universe. Moira wavers. She insists she's no Titan. Even if she was, Enigma would chew her up. Charles tells her she doesn't need to fight him. Jean is fighting him, across all that is. But Jean can't find him. That's where Moira comes in. If she activates the psychic signal he buried in her when she was 13, Jean will find her. Find Enigma. Moira shakes her head, overwhelmed. He's asking too much. Charles cuts her off. He lays it bare. Every dark compromise he's made, every betrayal, every alliance with devils, even with Mother Righteous. He did it all for this one shot. To stand here and ask her to do the right thing. Whatever remains of her soul, she can save it now. Or she can damn herself forever, chained beside the monster she chose. How long could she live with that? Because eternity is long. Moira trembles. She whispers that all she wanted was to live free, not trapped. Why should she believe this will work? Charles touches her cheek, eyes filled with quiet faith. Because once before, he believed in her, and that faith birthed Krakoa. For a time, it was wonderful. all from choosing to believe. And even now, he refuses to accept he was wrong about her. Moira wipes a tear. She forces a bitter smile. She would love to disappoint him. And then, finally, she triggers the signal. Jean feels it instantly. So does Enigma. The chase is over. Jean has him. The moment Moira activates the signal, the game changes. Jean feels it across all timelines, a single spark in the storm, tethering her to Enigma's hiding place. Moira and Charles don't even get their final words. One heartbeat later, fire consumes her, and Phoenix has him. Enigma tries to cover his panic with bravado. He expands, his body turning into a titanic form of energy, 4 arms wielding 4 impossible weapons. His voice is everywhere, roaring that he isn't afraid. He's climbed higher than anyone else by the longest route. He doesn't need fraternity. He doesn't need backup. He can stand alone. Jean looks at him calmly. She answers with the simplest truth. He is only himself. She is something more. And then it happens. Jean is no longer alone. Every soul of mutant kind, past, present, and future, joins her. Those lost in genocide, those who died in wars, those resurrected, those waiting. They are all there. They are all Phoenix. Their wings stretch beyond sight, talons forged from the focused totality of mutant kind. Enigma's confidence cracks. He insists this isn't possible. He saw the future. He won already. Jean doesn't answer. She strikes. Psychic claws rip through his skull. Enigma freezes, his scream echoing across every moment in time. He is caught in a paradox, alive and dead, past and future, trapped in his own ending. Forever. On Earth, the X-Men see it, a light blazing in the sky. Cyclops squints upward, then smiles. He knew she'd do it. The others cheer, though relief mixes with awe. This is Jean, ascended. What exactly happened? They don't know yet. Jean descends, her Phoenix costume shifting, fire becoming something sleeker, modern, less alien. She lands in front of Scott, her expression soft for the first time in ages. "So much," she whispers when he asks what happened. "I'll tell you later." And then she flies into his arms and kisses him. But not everyone celebrates. Sinister watches quietly. While the crowd rejoices, he slides open a teleportation gate. Typical Sinister. Always the rat sneaking away when the world resets. Elsewhere, Mystique pulls Destiny close. She asks if it's really over. Is Enigma dead? Destiny explains with grim calm. He is at the moment of death forever. She counts that as a win. Rasputin 4 isn't satisfied. Sword raised, she declares it's time for the next step, killing Sinister. Exodus agrees. Justice demands it. Destiny cuts them off. Sinister has already fled. They don't understand yet, but they will. 1 week later. The storm has passed, Orcus is finished, Enigma is locked in his eternal scream, and now, it's Charles Xavier's turn. He sits on a park bench. His expression is tired but peaceful. Soldiers surround him, weapons drawn. He raises his hands and surrenders without fight. "Take me away," he says, and throw away the key. But somewhere else, in a timeline reborn by the Phoenix, Moira McTaggart counts down her 13th birthday. The moment her mutant gene should have activated. It doesn't. Nothing happens. She is free. Moira gasps, then runs into green fields, laughing with joy. A life reset. A curse broken. And that's how it ends. Enigma, the machine that wanted to be a god, trapped forever in his own death. Jean Grey, finally at peace with the Phoenix, rising as the embodiment of every mutant soul. Orcus scattered. Krakoa scarred but unbroken. And Charles Xavier, choosing chains over running, carrying the weight of every choice he made. But comics are never just endings, they're continuities. And this issue ties threads across years. The White Hot Room, once the secret crucible of creation, becomes something new, reignited by Jean and Phoenix. The Waiting Room, where mutant souls lingered, folds into the fire, making the Phoenix mutantkind itself. Moira's role is just as sharp. From the girl whose mutation once cursed her to endless lives, to the machine who tried to escape her humanity, she finally finds release. In the new Phoenix-forged timeline, her 13th birthday comes and goes with no awakening, no burden, no lifetimes of loops, just freedom. Even the small beats matter. The issue reminds us this is not a random fight dropped from the sky, but the culmination of arcs seeded long before. From Enigma's manipulations of Jean's timeline to Charles planting that beacon in Moira's mind decades ago, everything folds back together here. The Phoenix itself even acknowledges its shift. Not just Jean, not just fire and rebirth, but the totality of mutantkind. That's more than a costume change. It's a statement of what the X-Men represent moving forward. And as always, the creators matter. Rise of the Powers of X number 5, 2024, was written by Kieron Gillen, with art by R.B. Silva, and colors by Marta Gracia. Together, they crafted a finale that feels both cosmic and painfully intimate. A story where timelines, dominions, and the Phoenix itself bend, but the human core never breaks. This isn't just the end of a battle, it's the closing of an era, and the spark of what comes next.